let's face it, Alabama is just the developmental league for the NFL.
Yeah, I think he could be the best player in the draft, Quinn Williams. I mean, I love what the Jets did. I know I can't even remember who they took in the second, and the third round I haven't even looked at because after the Eagles made their 2 picks, I was, kind of busy writing and going into press conferences and conference calls with the picks. So I didn't even look at the third round, but I remember seeing some of the Jets picks in the second round and thinking, man, they're having a pretty good draft. And in the AFC East in general, in that first round, when you look at the Jets getting Williams and the Buffalo Bills getting Ed Oliver and the Miami Dolphins getting Christian Wilkins, and then the Patriots getting N'Keal Harry, the wide receiver. I mean, that's a pretty solid first round for all 4 of those teams in the AFC East, and that just happens to be the division that the Eagles are going to play this year, as part of their schedule. So the Eagles are going to see all these guys. But I thought it was a great pick for the Jets. I think they're having a good draft. Again, you'd have to refresh my memory who they took in the second round, but I remember when I saw it, I'm like, well, that's a good pick. But I don't remember who it was.
I don't have it up right now. I tell you.
I think they're having a good draft. I think the AFC East is having a good draft in general. At least they did in the first round.
Yes, absolutely. Here's the thing. One of the biggest storylines going into this year's draft, going all the way to last year, was the Raiders and their tanking and this and that. Are they okay with Derek Carr? And just all kinds of storylines around Gruden and them going to Vegas and getting ready for Vegas. And they have the number 2 pick, and they traded back to get the number 4 pick to what? I mean, you and I talked about this offline. If you get Clinton Farrell, I believe is his name, you're getting an A player. If you get Clinton Farrell, you're getting an F player. Too much inconsistency from him. They needed to look at somebody else, maybe a Josh Allen or even an Ed Oliver. This guy, they're lucky they're even getting a D with me on this pick. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was surprised everybody, and there was talk all, in the couple days leading up, the Raiders were going to make a surprise pick at number 4, and I think that qualifies. But I think Cleveland Farrell's a good player. You may have been able to get him later in the draft, but Marshawn Lynch saying that he's not coming back, all of a sudden made running back a priority. So they kind of felt like they're going to have to take Josh Jacobs with that second pick they had in the first round. So they needed to get a pass rusher. They were really thrilled for letting that linebacker go to Chicago, Khalil Mack. So, they needed to get a pass rusher. I probably would have gone Josh Allen. He's another one of my favorites in this class. I've seen Kentucky play a bunch, and, I really like the way he plays. He brings a lot of versatility. He can drop off in pass coverage and cover. But Farrell also gives versatility. You can play him inside on the defensive line. He's big enough to play at a tackle spot, line up there, and on the outside. So he does bring versatility. He's a good player. I just think maybe they probably could have done a little bit better, in that spot.
We're talking with Ed Kracz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles. You can find his work on Football Maven / Eagles. Sorry, I don't have it memorized.
Eagles.
.io. .io always gets me.
Gets me too.
Find his work there. We're at the number 5 pick with the Bucks. Devin White, linebacker at LSU. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to add to that defense. He's a 3-down player and can run, but he's an off-the-ball linebacker position value, which is the value in that position, I guess, is changing a little bit is what I'm trying to say. I would have taken Josh Allen here if he was available. Again, going back to him and went back to Ed Oliver again. I still would have looked at those if those were available above him. But still, Devin White's a good, solid pick, so I'll give him a B for this pick.
Yeah, it was a predictable pick. I mean, everybody knew that Bucks. Every mock draft I looked at leading up to this thing, they had Devin White going to the Bucks, and they didn't deviate from it. And they needed a linebacker, and they went and got him. I like the pick. I like the player. I think it'll be a good fit in Tampa.
So we talked about this guy in passing earlier, and nothing against him, but if you're Dwayne Haskins, you're scratching your head. You're like, what? I got passed to Daniel Jones? What? He's going to be the heir apparent to Eli Manning? Are you kidding me? And my official grade to the Giants on this is a D. I wanted to give him an F, but I'm just a nice guy. Come on, the Giants could have done a lot better.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I don't know what they saw in Daniel Jones. That he's okay. He's an okay quarterback, but I don't think he's a first-round guy. And we've talked about this. I didn't really like any quarterback in this class. I mean, Kyler Murray, yeah, maybe. Dwayne Haskins, maybe. Daniel Jones, definitely not. Maybe he'll be a good player, but it was really a reach. I mean, the Giants have so many needs. They need an offensive line. And then you're bringing in your number 6 overall pick, and you're not going to play him. I mean, you're going to sit him behind Eli Manning. I mean, you want to hit a home run with that first pick. You want someone that's going to come in, and you're going to plug in and play right away. And if you're coming in to be a starter from day one, and Daniel Jones may not be a starter until year 3. So, to me it was a very, very curious pick. And we'll see a lot of him in the preseason, I'm sure, and then we'll kind of get a feel for how he's adjusting to the NFL game. But it was a reach, no question. And listen, I'm a nice guy too, but I still give him an F for that pick.
Jacksonville Jaguars, AFC South. Oh, don't really like to see them do well, but hey, here's the thing. They're like going to a party with a bunch of vegans and hey, let's eat healthy here. Let's eat this. Let's eat this little piece of celery. Let's eat this. Let's eat that. Let's be healthy. And the Jaguars are like, oh, look, meat, wings, beef, chicken. Oh, look at all this stuff, guys. Look, beer, all this good stuff. All right, if you guys don't want it, I'll take it. I'm going to take Josh Allen. Cannot get – he just was just like laying there like, okay, nobody else wants him? I'm going to take him. No questions. Josh Allen goes to the Jaguars. You got to give them an A, and you got to scratch your head. Why did he fall down to number 7 with the Jaguars? And the Jaguars are like, okay. You don't want him? We do.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jags, the guy, I think the guy that brought the card up to the stage, I think he popped the hamstring getting it up there because he really ran that pick up. If you look at it, there was very little time after the Giants took Jones before the Jaguars, the pick was in. A lot of these teams were using, most of their 15 minutes. And, not the Jags. When they saw Josh Allen, man, they jumped on it. You can't blame them. They got a good pick there, and you can thank the Giants for picking Jones, and you can probably thank the Raiders for taking Farrell, too.
Well, as a Colts fan, I am not worried because I got all kinds of trust in Ballard, in Reich, and in Irsay. Come on. I know we're deviating from our order a little bit here, but we do want to brag a little bit on Chris Ballard. Last year, able to get Quentin Nelson. Come on. Probably going to be wearing a gold jacket at some point in his life. This year, we get the Rocky that you and I talked about, and then they get the right hand of God to T.Y. Hilton, if you will, and they go to Paris. Let's real quickly deviate because I know you're very familiar with Chris Ballard, and if I'm getting my hierarchy right, I'm thinking that the leadership with the Eagles and the leadership with the Colts and Ballard, there's a connection there, but I'm almost positive there is. But Chris Ballard is a smart guy. I'll put it this way. He may have all kinds of money to spend, but that doesn't mean that you have to spend it. But great job on the Indianapolis Colts. I know I'm going homer card on you, but, I look at the last over period of time, they're in a very good position to win the AFC South.
Yeah, sure. They almost won it last year. They really got hot at the right time, and there's a lot of momentum in the offseason. When you have the kind of finish that the Colts did last year over your last half or more of your season, that really builds enthusiasm for guys in the offseason, getting into the workout room, wanting to kind of finish what you started. And to finish what they started would be to kind of make a little run through the playoffs and hope you get to the Super Bowl. I think I always say that you take the best player available, and maybe Rock Ya-Sin was that at number, what did they take him, 33 or 4? They traded out of the first round, which I don't mind again at all. If you feel like there's value later in the draft, then go ahead and trade out and get more picks. And they did that. It's kind of what the Eagles did. So you do see some of the similarities with, Chris Ballard having worked, with the Eagles in the past and some of the things that the Eagles do. And, I like the draft. I like the fact that they got a cornerback that they valued pretty high. I love the fact that he's a 2-time state wrestling champion. You know me, I'm a wrestling coach.
That.
Big fan of the sport. Utmost respect for a kid that can go out and win 2 state championships. I think he did that in Georgia and before coming to Temple. And then you get the receiver who, I know you think he could be the next Devin Hester, with the punts and all that stuff. And I know he was there for the Eagles. I'm surprised the Eagles didn't get him. I know they liked him, but they ended up getting that Stanford kid who is kind of got a lot of He's a great backstory. He's got some basketball in his background. Both his parents played professionally overseas. He had two uncles on the Spanish national team that played in the 1984 Olympics. And he's a lot like Alshon Jeffrey, who can go up, high point the ball. He loves contact, doesn't shy away from it in his routes. He's a very good receiver. But, so is Paris Campbell. I like the pick. I like what the Colts did.
So Rick was not able to join us today, but his Lions, number 8, T.J. Hoskins, he wasn't a big fan of that pick out of tight end out of Iowa. He's a good player, but come on, can we stop with the comparisons already with Gronk? I mean, we just can't get past Gronk. I mean, it's like a Democratic collusion. No, I'm sorry. I went there. I know, I went there. He's a good blocker, but nowhere – and I know that I should not say that the Patriot players are good because – that doesn't mean that I'm a Patriots fan, but I'm just, when you make these comparisons, he's more of a George Kittle. Can he be a rush passer because the Lions can't rush the passer? Maybe. I don't know. But come on, he's no Gronk. I mean, that's all social media. It's like, hey, the Lions picked up the next Gronkowski. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I give him a B, though.
Yeah, he's the best tight end in the draft, I guess, right? I mean, he went number 8, but I don't know. I know tight ends are important. I think, I would never take a tight end in the top 10, though. I don't care how valuable. I mean, again, to me, and I'm of the philosophy, it's similar to the Eagles. You build on both lines. You get your offensive line, your defensive line, and you build out. And, to me, the Patriot or the Lions could have gone a variety of different ways on either side of the line. And Matt Patricia, the coach, being a defensive guy, I thought for sure they would go defense. I didn't expect them to get a tight end, but look, I mean, if he gives Matt Stafford some comfort back there, then so be it, and let's see how they use him. But to compare him to Gronkowski before he's even put on an NFL uniform, I'm not a big comparison guy. Like I know they've done it with Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. I know size-wise that works, but in terms of skill set, let's just wait and see how they adjust to the NFL before we start anointing them the next anything.
Absolutely. And I didn't know there was another tight end out of Iowa ever. The only one that ever matters was number 44 with the Colts, and that was Dallas Clark. I had his jersey for years. And now there's a tight end for you out of Iowa. and if Matt Patricia can't get this right.
Right. And Iowa had 2 tight ends taken. They had this kid Hawkinson and then the Noah Fant at number 20 to the Broncos. So Iowa I guess they're the tight end capital of the world now.
I guess so. Bending over getting corn, I guess. No, never mind.
Yeah,
Won't go there. Well, I tell you what, yeah, I do too. Matt Patricia better get his act together. He's going to take that pencil out of his ear to sign an application for a job or something. I don't know. But it's going to be used for something. Who uses pencils anymore, especially in a game? What's he using that pencil for? That's what I want to know. That's the question I want to know. Who the heck uses a pencil in the NFL during a game? I don't know. I just don't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's it's like chewing on a toothpick. It's probably safer. You can always swallow the toothpick, but I guess it's safer than the toothpick.
Hey Matt, here's a tablet. You don't need a pencil. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, right.
Real quickly, I'm looking at the time here. We only got you for just a few more minutes here. The Buffalo Bills pulled the Jacksonville Jaguars. You don't want him, we'll take him. Ed Oliver goes to the Buffalo Bills. I think it's a good pickup for the Bills. I do. I mean, it's an A pickup if I'm going to give him a grade. He was misused at Houston. I think this kid is going to be special at the next level. Again, going back to the comparison, he's no Aaron Donald, but he's with the Buffalo Bills, and you just got to wonder, the Buffalo Bills always find a way to screw stuff up, so hopefully they don't waste this guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like Ed Oliver a lot. He may have been a top 5 pick, but he had that little run-in, that incident with his coach at Houston, so, maybe there was some red flags there. But I really like Ed Oliver. I know he's a little undersized, but, boy, he's quickness. There's a film they showed of him after he was picked, the things he's able to do with his hands and speed. I mean, he just looks like he's going to be a tough hombre to block. And I really like the pick. I